Hello, and welcome back to the video. Welcome, guys, and welcome to all of our new subscribers. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. Welcome to today's video where we are going to be discussing, let me get this shine off my face. There we are. We're going to be discussing how to research if a neighborhood is safe, okay? As a realtor, I can't tell you if a neighborhood is safe. I cannot tell you about a neighborhood's crime. And I know that a lot of people, that is number one on their list, right? And I also highly recommend that you get to know the areas in which you want to purchase before we start looking at houses, okay? It's all right if you wait until we get out in the search and you find a house that you love in person and then you want to do this research. Depending on how the market is, if it's a competitive market, you'll have time to do the research necessary. But if you're someone who's working on their credit or you're working on your down payment and you're just waiting to purchase at a better time, maybe you're waiting for your kids to get out of school, whatever the case may be, you got some time and you want to do some preliminary research. Get into this video because I'm going to tell you what you should be looking for when you are searching for a neighborhood or an area to purchase your new home. All right. Number one, you want to use your resources. Okay. You want to figure out if an area fits the criteria that works for your families. And here are my tips for researching safety in a neighborhood. All right. Number one, you can check crime data websites. You can look at websites like Crime Report, Sports Crime, or even your local police departments will be able to give you crime maps and also reports. When you're looking at these websites, it is noted here, because I'm looking at my notes, that you should look for patterns and trends to get a sense of the area. If you don't know, it is against fair housing laws for a realtor to tell you, yes, I heard this was a very safe, very good area. No, okay? That is violating fair housing laws, and we cannot do that, okay? We can tell you, well, I don't know. Do you want to come back at night? How do you feel in this neighborhood? Look around. Do you think this is an area that you would want to be in? We could say things like that, but we are not going to give you a definitive if it's safe or if it's not safe. Furthermore, professionally and personally speaking, I think it's wise for you to do your own research, because when you're speaking to a realtor or someone who doesn't live in that area, there's not really much that we're going to know because we don't live in that area, right? So the tips that I'm sharing with you is going to help you get the most informative information that you can get without living there, okay? So use your crime websites like Crime Reports, Spot Crime. I said Sport Crime. I do apologize. Spot Crime, local police departments, and you want to look at the patterns on their crime map to see what's going on, okay? Number two, I talked about that. You can visit different times of the day, late at night, on the weekends. You know, during the winter months, this might not be the best tactic because people aren't really outside in the winter. But you never know. You may go some areas and see a lot of commotion in the cold months and you're like, nope, that's not what I'm looking for. Okay, so try to go different areas. All right. And remember, research like this is realistic if you are searching prior to putting an offer and you're just gathering data. But if you wait until you find the house that you love to do the research, you may come into a situation where there's a competitive market and you don't really have enough time to look at the area and the opportunities that you need, right? Because if I go this Friday and nothing's happening, who's to say that next Friday it's going to look just the same, right? So when I say check out the area day and night, especially in the winter and the summer, you're probably good, right? Because if you go on a Friday night during the summer, you're going to see what that neighborhood's really doing in the hours that would be concerning you. So again, these tips are relatives. I just want to give you some pointers on things that you could do to help you do research to figure out if a property is going to be in an area that you want to be in. You know what I'm saying? And number 3, you can talk to your neighbors. I literally said that in the introduction. Nobody is going to know a neighborhood better than the people that are already living there or that have been living there. So, or that used to live there. So if you are a social butterfly and you have an opportunity to speak to the neighbors adjacent or across the street around where the house that you are trying to purchase, or the condo that you are trying to purchase, or the townhome that you are trying to purchase, that's going to be your number one source. Number one source will be your neighbors. Also, even if you don't have kids, areas with good schools and active community centers tend to be more safe and more stable. Now, this is coming from the research done with ChatGPT, and they pulled information from various websites across the internet. So these are not my thoughts. These are the notes that I am speaking. This is what the ChatGPT is saying. That basically, if you look in areas that have high school ratings, that might be an area that is more desirable. Okay, you want to check. That was tip number 4, to research schools and community centers or community amenities, right? Then if the area has a lot of really nice amenities and those amenities don't have a lot of bad reviews, then you are maybe going into a decent area, right? Don't be afraid to check social media. There's different chats for different homeowner associations, different neighborhoods, different areas. They have private small groups you can join and talk to people in there. If you're a little nervous about talking to neighbors in person, you can maybe talk to the people on Nextdoor. But I think with Nextdoor, you would have to live in that neighborhood to be able to have access to speak to people in that neighborhood. If I'm wrong, let me know if you've used Nextdoor to research an area to know if that's someplace you want to buy or not. Also, you can go on Google and look at the reviews for the different neighborhoods. You can look at the reviews for the HOA. You can actually sometimes access HOA minutes just from Google. Okay, and if you don't know what HOA minutes, those are the documents that the notes are kept for the different HOA meetings. And HOA is the Homeowners Association. Some of you guys are fresh, brand new home buyers, so you may not even know what HOA means. That is the association that is elected by the community of owners to keep the rules and bylaws of every neighborhood, making sure that every homeowner follows a set of rules. Okay, so that's the neighborhood. So the house has to look a certain way. You got to keep your grass cut. You can't park more than 2 cars on your property. There are no cars to be parked on the side of the road. When the trash is picked up, they manage the maintenance of the common area. They manage if you live in a neighborhood that has community amenities like pools, basketball courts, playgrounds, HOA manages the upkeep of all of that. Okay, so that's just a quick synopsis of what the HOA is. And if you go on Google, you get the name of the HOA community, and you can tell your realtor, hey, would you mind finding out if this community that I'm thinking about buying has an HOA? We can really tell you that quickly. Sometimes you can get that information on Zillow. I believe maybe realtor.com may have that information as well. A lot of the real estate websites nowadays pull their information from the MLS, so you have access to a lot of information to help you do this research, so that you can go on Google and look up reviews about that community. Okay, And tip number 6 would be to walk the neighborhood. So that goes into checking it out at different times of day. You can simply just take a stroll and see how you feel, see if that's a place that you feels like home for you. And that's it. Walking through the neighborhood, using community groups, using Google. And just remember, no place is perfect. But by doing your homework, you are helping yourself to maybe possibly dodge a bullet, right? Because sometimes, like I said, no one is going to be able to give you what you're looking for. You are just collecting data. And if you are feeling worried, this is my professional opinion, because I've had situations like this where my clients will find a beautiful home, especially right now with interest rates being where they are and prices, although prices have been coming down, it's still not super affordable, right? Like a 4-bedroom house back in the day that was 450, maybe 2019, today that house is 630,000. So the person that could afford it at the salary of 2019, that person wouldn't be able to afford the house today, okay? And so maybe we have to look in a different area. And so there have been a lot of families and a lot of singles that have had to make some tough decisions on, are they going to sacrifice location? Are they going to sacrifice space? Are they going to sacrifice the size of the home, the style of the home? As a realtor, I always tell people, don't sacrifice your safety, because your safety is your peace of mind. Okay. One of my taglines in my business is health is wealth, right? We don't have access to anything else in our life but our health, right? Like without our health, we don't have access to everything that we work for. There is no wealth without health. So I wouldn't want you to put yourself in a property that is going to jeopardize your health, mental health. You know, I think people forget about their mental health when they're making these big purchases. So I always tell you, just because you find something that fits your criteria, is under budget, but the area is questionable for you, not questionable for me, not questionable for your mama or your friends, or even the data that you gathered. The area is like, you're kind of like, I don't know, this isn't what I'm feeling. Let's just not make an impulsive decision, okay? If you are not 100% secure about your safety, that is a non-negotiable. That's my personal opinion, okay? And it's a hard one because as a realtor, I am not allowed to flat out say if an area is safe or not, or if an area is ghetto, you know, quote unquote ghetto. I cannot use derogatory terms like that. So I always tell my clients that, because I get asked that all the time. That is a valid question. That is a valid concern when you are searching for a home. But in this business, we are so lucky that we have data freely available to us, and you're going to be able to make that decision on your own. And maybe that's not something that you sacrifice in a competitive market. Maybe you just look for a house in an area that feels more safe for you, but maybe you have to sacrifice the number of bedrooms, or you have to sacrifice for an older home, you know, something like that, that is more manageable and isn't going to affect you mentally, physically, spiritually down the line. I think it's the best way to go. So thank you for that question, because I got asked that this morning, and there was some controversy about it with some agents. I'm not even going to talk about it, but my people over on Facebook, if you seeing this over there, you know, right? So we're not going to talk about it. We're just going to let it be. But I did feel inspired to make this video because of that controversy, and to always let you know that in the home buying process and even in the home selling process, you are in control, and don't sleep. Some of these areas that are considered non-desirable, plenty of investors are happily buying up those properties, you know, because they make money. Okay. So That's not what this is about. It's not about a finance thing. It's about how do you feel. It's about your health. It's about your mind, and your home is your place of peace. So don't make an impulsive purchase just because it's in an area that you can afford. Got it? Good. All right, guys, if you haven't already, like, follow, subscribe. Until we meet again. Bye-bye. See you later.